Shalom. Call halal Yahweh by Shem Shai by Shem Rakakwadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so now more so than ever. To the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, the Israelite foreigners that look like the other nations. And to the Akwath that are listening and learning to you, I say Shalom. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Chicago, coming at you another lesson in truth. And this is a video that was put up by the brother Bernard Hodge. And the brother made my day with this video because it clearly lets you see how gentrification has backfired, especially here in Oakland. Yeah, the curses are truly upon Esau. So I'm going to read from Psalms, the 110th chapter. I'm going to read the whole chapter and precepts to go with it. But before I do so, I just want you to just get a vision of what's going on here in America in some cities. And this is going to be in all cities. And this one in particular, I have history with. You know, I lived in, in this area of America for almost 10 years. You know, I was out there in the Bay Area. You know, and I didn't hang out Oakland a whole lot. I mean, I went through there was a couple little chicks I would go through and see, and I had a couple of, guys that I knew. One of my Marine buddies was from Oakland. He went to school with them cats, Tony. We used to hang out with them dudes, And I used to train Muay Thai at King's Gym in Oakland. All right, my crew, that's what you call a Muay Thai master. He was training his students out of King's Gym. So this area I'm very familiar with. All right, and it is beautiful to see, and I know that area is being gentrified. I know they always wanted that area back by the lake, by Lake Merritt. Lake Merritt was beautiful, man. I got a lot of history around Lake Merritt. We used to train there, run Lake Merritt, and then train on the beaches there, in the sand. And to see it like this is beautiful. So without any further ado, let me matter of fact, let me read the scripture, then let that play. Let's go to Deuteronomy. 30:7, and it reads, "And Yahweh thy power will put all these curses upon thine enemies, and on them that hate thee, which persecute thee." And we definitely are being persecuted by Esau, Edom, and some of our own people, the Boule, those coons that that vibe with them, that help them. But yeah, let's let you see the condition of one of America's greatest cities.
California sure does have a homeless problem. Drive around town, there's homeless encampments all over the place. They're on the sides of the roads and dirt lots. There's long stretches of them on sidewalks. Some are in tents, some are in RVs. Some are actual encampments with makeshift structures where hundreds of people gather into communities. It's estimated there's about 5,000 homeless individuals throughout the city of Oakland, but nobody really knows the exact answer. And the number of people on the streets in Oakland's nearly doubled in the last 2 years alone. A lot of that has to do with the high cost of living in the Bay Area. Apartments that were once $1,000 a month now cost closer to $3,000 a month. A lot of the homeless.
And if I'm not mistaken, maybe Elder Yashawamba could correct me, because I know this is his home. If he sees this, that he was from this city, or lived in this city. That almost looks like the area where the where that section of the freeway came down and killed all those people many years ago. They had a double-decker expressway where one direction you were going south, and the other direction one direction you were going east, and the other direction you were going west. And I think it was called the Cypress. I can't remember the name of it. All right, but it was a double-decker portion of the expressway. And when that big earthquake hit in '89, I believe it was '89, the the top section fell down upon the it looked like something out of a horror movie, man. And lots of people died. Hundreds, if not thousands of people died. But this looks like that area where that two-story expressway stacked on one of each. You know how expressway is usually, or freeway was right next to each other. You know, this one was they were stacked on top of each other and they collapsed. So all the people on the bottom were crushed and a lot of people on the top fell to their death. But it was a horrific, scene of death. And it kind of looks like that looking at it now, and it's beautiful.
Homeless are addicts, but there's no real one reason homelessness is so high in Oakland. If you ask 10 homeless people why they live on the streets, you're going to get 10 different answers. Look at this one in West Oakland. This one is sort of sanctioned by the city, meaning they don't run them off. Sometimes it's easier to keep them in one place so they can monitor them and provide support. But this problem's impacting the community in a big way. Local businesses complain about losing customers. I mean, would you want to park near here to shop? Residents complain about homeless people stealing from them. Neighbors complain about loud noise and trash. Some say helping the homeless is backfiring. And the Oakland police are already stretched thin because of low numbers. There's many reasons for that. Vaccine mandates, early retirements, and being defunded. Now, I spent 2 days driving around Oakland, looking at how run down this once proud city's become.
Damn.
And along the way,
he ain't lying.
All the homeless camps I saw. But there was one particular homeless camp that I stumbled onto, which put into perspective the state of homelessness here in Oakland and actually changed.
And I had one of my other Marine buddies, he was a cop in Oakland, man. I haven't talked to him in years, man. So it makes me wonder, It's looking bad out there because Oakland was a beautiful city. California, the Bay Area was, in my opinion, the Bay Area was one of the prettiest areas in all of America, man. And from what I'm hearing, it looks a lot like this everywhere. All right, because I lived about an hour south of here in Hayward, and what I hear is Hayward was like in a suburb of Oakland, and from what I'm told, Hayward looks the same, if not worse. Just full of homeless people and a bunch of street people and druggies. That's what I'm hearing.
My perspective on the homeless problem in general. So I was driving around on the west side of town. I came across a huge makeshift camp made up of RVs and improvised shelters. Something that looked like what you would see in a third world country. It was under a freeway overpass across the street from a public park, in an abandoned area of former warehouses that people had used to dump their crap for years.
And see, with them earthquakes that hit out on the West Coast, and especially after the Cypress, I'm pretty sure it was the name of it, after the Cypress collapsed, I would be afraid to live under a freeway in California. I can see, doing that out here in the Midwest, to stay out the elements. But in California, man, I'd be a little bit nervous. Real talk.
Years. As I learned, the RVs parked here were actually the working poor. People who had decent jobs but still couldn't afford a place to live in Oakland. Some were even doctors who were new to the city and had to save up enough money to afford a down payment on their first apartments. But many of the people outside of the homeless RV park were people who had been here for a long time.
Doctors living in homeless encampments. And people think that this place is going to come back, that it's going to get better. It's like this lesson is changing as I'm watching. It's like I don't even want to, go into what I want to go into. I was going to go into something else. Maybe we'll just have to make it a part 2. But these people clearly aren't fit to rule. The Lord is taking everything from them. All right? Let me see. What was I looking for? Just give me a second. Abkashah. Second. I was right there. I missed it. I was right there. This is Jeremiah 49:10. And it reads, "But I have made Esau bare. I have uncovered his secret places, and he shall not be able to hide himself. His seed is spoiled, and his brethren and his neighbors, and he is not." All right, so Esau's being exposed at the same time the curses are falling upon him. And it's going to show you that he really doesn't have the wisdom like people thought he thought he did. He was the almighty white man who could never fail, who would always be in power. And a lot of you people feel that way. Even some of you other camps. That's why you comply, especially you 501c3 charter camps. You can't, you've taken the purse camps. You guys who start changing up the doctrine, start using the J word and start saying that Esau can make it, and or you comply with the enemy. It does. When the scripture says agree with thy enemy, quickly, it's not talking about complying to everything that he says and prescribes. It's talking about in heated moments, like if when the police come in and get all irate with you, instead of bucking up, and inflaming the situation, you just agree with them so you can keep it moving. All right. But clearly these people are not fit to rule. They just aren't. This is let me go to the book of Ezekiel. Got to get used to, we can't get rusty with using the actual sword. We get comfortable using our phones, the Bible apps. All right, but this is, but you got to keep this sword skill up to par. All right, this is Ezekiel 32:29, and it reads, "And there is Edom, her kings and all her princes, which with that might are laid by them that were slain by the sword. They shall lie with the uncircumcised, and with them that go down to the pit." So Esau is going to fall. All his kings represent his government, his governments. You got to think about his governors that run all his governments. Mountains and hills are representations. In the Bible, it's talking about countries, large countries and smaller countries, power structures. And and these kings are talking about the men, and in Esau's kingdom, the women who run them, who control them. They're all gonna fall, man. Esau is going down, and there's nothing that anybody can do about it. Right? It is happening. And the water, brother, or Burnett Hodge, man, because this video I thoroughly enjoyed, man. It made my day looking at how low Esau is coming, right? Because Oakland is also a major port city, a major port city. A lot of stuff, the Oakland had those gigantic ports. Well, a lot of goods and services came into. And look at this. Look at this.
We're trying to save money to change their situation. Despite the way it looks from the street, this camp is well organized. There's even leaders here who enforce rules, and there's even camp security. It's a camp with community and pride and progress.
That's because the rape and stuff that was going on in these camps. All right? But these leaders in camp security are going to lose control, man. All right? Believe me, you. They don't really have control now. That's an illusion.
People in this camp are actually trying to make this temporary homeless camp their permanent home. Their goal is to get Caltrans to donate the land to a nonprofit they had set up so they could raise money to build a permanent village of tiny homes where they would then live. So they were squatting.
So the American dream has turned into a permanent village of tiny homes. You take 3 steps and you're to the other side of your home.
Until they could get agencies to help them with their goals. As they would explain to me, they'd be getting a job in a house at the same time, since their jobs would be building their new homes. And then after their village was built, their jobs would be managing their village. They're serious about it. This man goes by Ohio. He founded this makeshift camp 15 years ago.
We started feeding people out of my house. And then me and my wife ended up separated, and I ended up in the streets. That was about 15 years ago. I ended up down here. I was the first one down here, and the police ran me out of here.
You were the first one here?
The first one here. There was no tents, no nothing. I had a black Dodge Dakota. I was sleeping in. I was scrapping metal at that time. And then I got sick from being down here and all this stuff. These people get sick. They get sick from not from the COVID, not from that, it's from the garbage that people come dump. These are the people that's dumping this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, look, yeah.
Wow.
These are the people that's dumping this stuff.
No.
Cars are coming in here, trucks are coming here, loads are coming here and dumping stuff here. So the rat problem that we have are from people that are dumping. So I had a tent down here for a long time. And then just about a couple of months ago, they moved me into my apartment.
How long were you here?
I was here about 15 years.
15 years,
Yeah.
living in a Dakota.
Yeah.
And you finally...
A tent and a Dakota. All right, and then we'll act up now because he was just about to talk about the doctors and the lawyers that he was gonna mention how good there are good people down here, that contribute to society. So how are you going to keep people healthy, when these are your living conditions? All right. Babylon is finished, man. And it has been a golden cup, but no more. Matter of fact, let me find that real quick. Let me find that. Yeah, man, I'm only one page away. Here we go. Yeah, this is Jeremiah 57 and 7, 51 and 7, Salakia. And it reads, Babylon have been a golden cup. Actually, I'm going to start at verse 6. Flee out of the midst of Babylon and deliver every man his soul. And when that means by flee out of Babylon, it doesn't mean physically leave. The average Israelite cannot leave Babylon. The average Israelite cannot get the documentation to leave Babylon. Real talk. So those who those people that went over to Israel with Ben Amin, that's not scriptural. So you can't find precepts to back that up. All right. Flee out of Babylon means just turn from her ways, because the scriptures tell you that the Lord is going to rescue the elect out of Babylon, and only the elect. And though this brother is an Israelite with a full beard, he's got God on his hat. And I'm pretty sure he's not calling on the name of Yahweh Shem Shai. That's not happening. All right. But it says, flee out of the midst of Babylon and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity. See? So you got to turn from her philosophies, her ways. For this is the time of Yahweh's vengeance, and he will render unto her a recompense. So the recompense is coming on this place for all the murder and the death, the destruction that is done. Babylon hath been a golden cup in Yahweh's hand, that hath made all the earth drunken, and the nations have drunken her wine. Therefore the nations are mad. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her, take balm for her pain, if so she may be healed. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, and let us go every one into his own country, For her judgments reacheth into the heavens, and is lifted up even unto the sky. So people are abandoning, removing their money. You got all these high level millionaires and billionaires buying these luxury bunkers in all these foreign countries. The ones who can afford, because the low level ones bought bunkers here in America. But a lot of those bunkers are going to be their tombs, because Babylon is going to be destroyed from east to west and north to south. It's going to be turned into a desert. And those of you elites, especially you Edomites who go into those luxury bunkers around the world, you're just going to get rounded up and put in shackles, because the Bible, promises, the Lord's word promises that you will be the first fruits of slavery. Call halal Yahweh Ba'Shem Awashai Ba'Shem Rakak Wadash Wa Abba Babal Kwam Yasharala Shalom.